Hey everybody, and welcome to the first round of the Green Mountain Championships. We're finally in Vermont. This is presented by Upper Park Disc Golf. My name is Madison Walker.
And I'm Erika Stinchcomb. We're two hot geese.
Honk. We will be playing our first round at Fox Run Meadows. It is the more open of the two courses on the property, thanks to Upper Park again and Discraft Disc Golf.
Yeah, we're having a quick turnaround from MVP, only 2.5 days to practice. On the feature card here today, we have Sarah Hokom, Catrina Allen, Missy Gannon, and Christine Jennings.
Yeah, it is a quick turnaround. It was about a 4.5 or 5 hour drive and then practicing two courses. It rained all day one of the days, so everyone's feeling a little fresh. Everyone's probably didn't see the course as much as they want, but we've been here before. We know what's going on. We'll see what happens.
Jumping into hole one, it's a par 4, 550 feet. You're teeing off across this kind of OB section here, and then OB lines it left and right and wraps all the way around the basket. This is a theme we're going to see all day with these white stakes and painted lines out of bounds. This is a really great property because it has this open course and the wooded course, which is super tight, and they're like 200 feet apart. It's unbelievable.
From Caldwell, Idaho, Sarah Hokom.
This is a pretty awesome starting hole. It's got a really pretty tee pad with a little boardwalk that goes over the out of bounds. Forehand and backhand are both lined up just fine off this tee pad. Major issues here would be turning it over left into the out of bounds or throwing it a little bit too deep and finding OB far. Sarah just chops off 265.
Minnesota, Catrina Allen.
That's Jeff Spring there, the director of the Pro Tour. He told me he was practicing his announcing. You got to do the first name slow and then the last name fast. So that's what he's doing, which I love it.
Yeah, he's also throwing his name in the tournament director hat this week. So he is tour directing and tournament directing at the same time.
Amazing. Katrina with an H1V2, 304 feet and in a pretty good spot.
Missy Gannon.
Yeah, you don't really have to bite off too much here. You really just want to keep it safe. The next shot will be right around the same distance of about 300 feet. We've seen Missy on lots of lead cards and feature cards this year. She's playing awesome. Kind of rips over on this one more than you want. Looks like it may find out of bounds.
And rounding out the 9:33 a.m. tee time from Beaver Creek, Ohio, Christine Jennings.
Love seeing a new face on the feature card that we don't get to see very often.
Yeah, Christine can crush, though. She has some smooth shots, and I'm looking forward to watching.
She's got a full-time job. She works really hard also as a media person with the Pro Tour. So exciting to see her on this feature card.
This is her Tour Series Sidewinder, so if you want to support Christine and everything she's doing, check that out.
Missy, not only is she out of bounds on the right-hand side, it's in probably the worst spot you want to be on this fairway. It makes the basket completely blind and I would say unreachable.
Yeah, the way to get to the basket with the forehand is to go inside of this tree right here in the center screen, which Missy didn't have a chance to do.
Mm-hmm. It's, I would say, about almost, 375 from where Missy went out of bounds. Maybe a little less, but and then uphill.
We are super lucky with the conditions today. It was a little muggy, but not too bad. But there's basically no wind at all, which is kind of unreal.
It never happens. I mean, yesterday's practice round, there was like probably 20 mile per hour consistent winds all day.
And I would say that's typical for at least when I've played here anyway.
Totally.
So should see some scores under par, I'm sure, today.
Yeah, it was dead calm. It was unbelievable. This fairway slopes down from right to left on this approach, so it's easy for your disc to skip out of bounds on the left-hand side, but Christine's lays down just fine, right around Circle 2 land.
I think Katrina's going to take this inside gap I was talking about with the forehand. I think it's the best way to get there for the birdie. Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Surprisingly, this play is the 5th most difficult hole. I'm kind of surprised by that.
Yeah.
Maybe just because it's hole 1, little hole 1 jitters.
This
is definitely
not the easiest birdie. I mean,
no.
I don't know. It's technical.
But it's reachable.
Yeah. Sarah with a little backhand upshot here. Maybe giving it a bid.
Oh.
Definitely.
Yeah, I almost think it's easier to go out of bounds on the second shot than it is the first.
I definitely think that.
It pinches off a little bit. This is Catrina for birdie. Oh. Yeah, there's only 3 birdies on the day. Paige Pierce, Natalie Ryan, and Maria Oliva got the 3.
I'm sure we'll see more
Oh, yeah.
the next round. So we're playing Fox Run here, and then we're switching over to the Wooded Course Brewster, and then Fox Run Brewster. So alternating courses.
And normally I don't like playing more than one course at Pro Tour events because I don't think we have enough time to learn both. But man, both of these courses are so awesome. I can't complain.
I prefer 2 courses, but yeah, adequate practice time is nice.
But they complement each other so well. Hole 2, though, even though Fox Run is more open, Hole 2 is a nice wooded gap. It's short. It's 240 feet. It's downhill. It plays a little shorter than that. There is out of bounds on the right-hand side if you happen to catch a tree. It is probably right around 40 feet away from the basket. Other than that, you just don't want to go early left. It's jail over there.
We're going to see a lot of mid-ranges and putters, I think, for the most part. If you throw a fairway or try to get too aggressive, you find the OB pretty quick. Like this is very lucky to hit that
saved.
tree
Yeah.
and stay close.
A little backboard action.
Catrina with her PA1. You kind of have to throw... I mean, it is straight, but the trees make you feel like you have to shape a shot.
Yeah.
And then you end up hitting one.
Yeah.
That was a great shot. She hits the same tree as Hokom did.
Yeah, it makes you feel like you want something that's right finishing, but in reality, I think the straight shot is the play here.
It tricks you.
Yep. The hill, the trees. It does trick you.
Mm-hmm.
It got me.
MD3.
Oh, yeah.
Perfect line. Wow.
Right in
I
the
guess
middle.
this hole is easy.
Yeah, you just throw it in the middle.
Is this the easiest hole today?
It is the 15th most difficult hole, so it's up there as one of the easier holes on the course.
Missy throwing an ESP Meteor here.
Still only 20% of the field with birdies. I think a lot of people were just really good about getting up and down when they did not get inside the circle.
I would say doing what Missy did and kind of turning it over into that area is very common. And you can't, it's really difficult to get a birdie from there on the elevated pin with a hill. It's dangerous.
It's also pretty difficult to bogey. And I think that's what happened with a lot of the field. A lot of safe shots.
Sarah in for the birdie.
This event's pretty cool because we are playing on a different course from the men. So we were able to have a much bigger field opened up. It is kind of out far away in Vermont, away from everything. So it wasn't as many women as they were hoping for.
Yeah, we're playing in the morning at the same time as the men, which is interesting. But they, in the email, it said they had enough spots for 120 FPO players. So if you're thinking about playing FPO next year, this would be a great event to sign up for.
Heck yeah, it would.
Hole 3 is an uphill par 3, 300 feet. Through the gap, there is a Mando on that right side. OB all along the right. I think it wraps around the back as well.
It does.
And then it drops off pretty steeply here, so it's a pretty dangerous putt to run.
Few different options here. The sidearm is a great play if you can get it to flip, just like we see Sarah doing.
I think that's too much flip.
Yeah, you don't want it to go left of those trees either because there's a bunch of, it's like an area of those little tiny sticky trees where you can't really get up and down from there. There's just no way to get out of there. It would be like lucky if you could pitch out.
This is another one where throwing straight is going to get you a putt, but you think that you have to throw it and fade to the left. Like this is beautiful and amazing because that's an M2. And she gets herself a really clean look at it. You don't have to finish left.
No, the basket's blind from the tee pad, so you just kind of remembering where it is, and it's weirdly a little bit further down the hill than you expect. Like you want to crest the hill more with a little more speed than it seems like from the tee pad.
Like this you think looks perfect, but then it challenges the trees.
And it'll also be probably around
Circle 2.
50 feet short.
Yeah. Are these holes just genius? Like they just trick you.
They really did.
They're so smart.
Yeah, Jeff Spring and Steve Brenser did a great job with the course design out here. Forgive me if I'm forgetting any of the other co-designers.
Missy with her Thrasher getting all the way up there, maybe 20 feet left. Bushnell putting Hokom at 100 feet out in her little upshot.
Definitely a death putt.
She's running it.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, this rolls just straight downhill towards out of bounds. Christine opting just for the layup, and that's a smart play here.
Yep, she lays it down nicely, and it's parked.
Trina lining up hers from looks like just inside the circle.
Oh, man.
What did that just bounce off? That went
That
all the way in.
like the
That was a nasty spit out.
yeah, bummer. She corrected from her mistake on hole 1, and it looked good, but wow, Missy all the way stretched out here for her birdie.
Even though this is a 300-foot hole, only 5 birdies on the day, it really is a difficult line to hit. It is such a hard green to find.
Now there's going to be a long walk here, going to hole 4 where the course opens up a bit.
A really long walk next to a solar field. There's lots of out of bounds on this fairway, all the way down both the left and right side of this green grassy fairway. There's some out of bounds here in the middle, and then a layup area on the right-hand side that's available. All of this big bushy stuff is OB until you get over to this grass, and the basket has some out of bounds deep, right around circle's edge. It's a little bit elevated on the rocks. Thanks to the discbarn.com for the drone footage. They have a wide variety of Discraft and Discmania, but they have a great selection of a bunch of other brands as well. They have pictures of every disc. Check them out, discbarn.com.
I think most of our field is going to be taking the right side. It's kind of an awkward tee shot, but it's wider than the center. It is really easy to find out of bounds if you throw that down the center. And that looked great too. A lot of people gonna disc down as well to like a fairway or mid-range.
Yeah, this is a shorter distance for the par 4. I think just the amount of out of bounds keeps it at that par. We used to have a longer tee pad that we played at the first few times we were at this site, but it always played as a lot of strokes over par. They gave us a women's tee pad, and now it plays as the easiest hole in the course.
That's not surprising. At 470, if you can get a decent drive and stay in bounds, you don't have that much work left to get to the pin.
Right. Missy opting for the sidearm, which I love to see her pull that out of her tool bag, but she leaves it a little bit low.
Yeah, just a little bit too low. But see, she's still 310 feet. She has a chance to save her par from here, which is cool. It's not easy, but she can do it.
Definitely within reach.
Yeah, that was beautiful. Her thrasher.
Essentially a tap in, probably around 12 feet from the pin.
And our other 3 ladies on the card got far enough up here that this is relatively routine.
Yeah, it's just a chip shot, basically.
In the wind, this hole becomes a nightmare.
Yeah.
But in the calm, I can see why it's the easiest, because it's probably the shortest par 4.
You're totally right. The wind does make this hole it levels it up substantially.
Christine with less of a straight shot and has to curve something around. I think she sneaks in bounds, though.
Yeah. When you're on that right-hand side of the layup zone, it does make it a little bit more difficult, especially without a sidearm.
Catrina going mid, then putter. Parking it.
Classic. Yeah, this green is tough in the wind.
Yeah, and
Even
you can
though
hit
it's-
a rock and roll, too.
Yeah, even though it's just a tiny bit elevated, it feels so scary. 40% of the field with a birdie.
Great hit from Christine to get her 2 under par.
It's really all about trusting your disc off the tee. And from there, pretty routine for most of the field. Missy saving her par, even going out of bounds early off the tee.
Making sure she takes her time with that one. And also 2 under, as well as Hokom.
Well, check in with the leaderboard real quick. We got a handful of people under par already. One of them is a hot goose honk.
Honk.
Everyone else sitting right around even. Like we said, with no wind on the course, it's going to be a little bit easier to score out here. There is a lot of out of bounds though, so that will definitely be the deciding factor, is keeping those discs between the lines.
Speaking of which, this is a very difficult hole to do that on. 450-foot par 3. Keep in mind, we just played a 470-foot par 4. This is downhill, so you can actually get past this little gully and get kind of a look at it. But you really have to trust your disc over out of bounds to get past that patch of middle trees, which is pretty scary. And then the water on the left can catch your disc if you're not careful and leave it on a hyzer or something like that.
The weird thing about this hole is there's not necessarily a great layup area.
No,
because if
you have to go for it.
Yeah, if you land behind these trees, you can see Hokom kind of trying to do that layup and putting it too far right. But if you land behind these trees, it's death.
There's nothing.
There's nothing. It's a wall. So there's not really a safe play. You just kind of have to go for it.
And you have to hang it out of bounds more than you want. Like, you think that looks okay, but it's kind of right at the trees, although I think she got lucky through them.
Yeah, and if she catches the top of that hill, she can very easily skip into the water.
That happens more in the men's field. You're going to see that a lot less for us. Most of us, if you get past, or through the gap rather, you're going to kind of land in that ditch.
This played as the third most difficult hole in the day, so you can see just that extra 20 feet less and one par stroke less really does make a difference.
That was the destroyer from Christine. Not sure if she's trying to lay up or if it was just a bit too high, but we'll see her have to deal with those trees now.
Hopefully she has a little gap, but there are not many. Definitely not enough to constitute deciding just to throw into them.
And this is a Zeus, and you think that's yanked, but it's actually good.
Yeah, it looks great.
Yeah,
oh, yeah.
That's how you get through that gap. And then roll, keep going. Keep going. She'll have a chance at birdie. And that's about the look at birdie that you get if you throw your best shot for most of us.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah, that looked awkward, but it worked out. I guess she fought through most of the way.
Hokom, from where she went out of bounds, she's having to throw over the gully, but really meter her angle of landing because that grass can be super skippy.
And if you hit the koozie, the hill is pretty steep there too, and you can roll and even find that OB.
Yeah, there's the out of bounds stakes deep surprisingly do come in play on this putting green.
That would have been a really cool birdie.
There was only one birdie on the day. And it was by Natalie Ryan.
Yeah, she's got a cannon. Keep an eye out for her.
Curious how far her putt was.
Good conversion for par. Hokom taking the bogey with the out of bounds stroke. This isn't the worst one to mess up. It's very difficult.
Wow, Natalie's putt was from 16 feet.
Yeah.
That's unbelievable.
Right.
Yeah, really keep an eye out for her if she's throwing 425 feet.
Mm-hmm. Like, I think she struggles throwing it
35.
softly. Like, she just throws it too hard.
So we'll see what happens at Brewster.
In this game, preparation is everything. It gives you that edge to become something from nothing. Success is not by accident. Because you know, the course plays no favorites. You know what it takes to be the best. In this game, detail matters. Idio Sports.
Moving on to hole 6, it is one of the shortest holes on the course, if not the shortest. It's 275 feet, slightly uphill. There's out of bounds all the way around the right and left side. It pinches out into the middle of the fairway in this little peninsula and then wraps around behind the basket. But right near circle's edge definitely comes into play.
It's an awkward shot. You either have to throw a pretty steep turnover or a power sidearm. This tree you can see kind of on the right side really forces you to turn something. This looks pretty good. Or really good?
Yeah.
It looks great.
It's a blind shot, so you can't see the basket. It makes it a little bit scarier. And I don't know why it is just so difficult, because that out of bounds comes close on the right-hand side. The basket's in the perfect place where you are thinking about making sure you're not turning your disc over too much.
Star Sidewinder parked for Christine.
Making it look easy.
Yeah, this one is definitely about angle control more than anything else. I think it's just easy to mess that angle up and find the OB. Like, Missy is worried about this one fading out. Let's see, maybe too stable of a disc or just the angle?
Yeah.
Oh no, that was her Thrasher, which she can definitely hold an Anheuser, so just didn't quite get it right. A little nose up maybe.
That's the kicker here, is you almost have to throw it nose up to get up this hill.
Mm-hmm. This is definitely the better play if you have it. Hokom throwing her Photon here. Leaves it a little bit short.
Yeah, hugging that right side a little bit more than you want to as well. 20% of the field with a birdie on this hole.
Missy looks to be about 45-ish to save her par.
Just barely too low of the cage.
She's having a bit of an off day.
Mm-hmm.
She's not quite lacing the lines and making the putts so far like we normally see.
Yeah, a lot of her putts have been right outside the circle too, and those are some hard ones to make. Especially,
but she's usually good for them, you know?
True that. We also have not been used to playing in the morning. And
Yeah.
we're all like, I feel like half of us are still wiping our eyes, but it was definitely a weird change of routine.
Catrina not seeming to be bothered by it. This is her third week, just shredding.
Yeah.
Absolutely
Just
dominant right
cruising.
now, yeah.
Hokom just falling a couple strokes behind.
Christine keeping pace with Catrina.
Heck yeah.
3 down through 6s.
She is definitely finding the green.
Mm-hmm. Hole 7 is 1,085 feet over this OB ditch, then OB left and right, both sides. It has changed a little bit from the format we've seen in the past. It used to be more on the right. Now you can see this bubble on the left is kind of your second shot landing zone, and then you throw out over OB again. You can see like this long grass here is all out of bounds. So you can either kind of lay up safe if you're not, doing super good on distance, or you can go all the way across and get the 4. The 4 is definitely gettable, but you need to throw some huge shots.
Yeah, the property owners along the right-hand side did not like the disc going over there, so they had to do a redesign, and I think they did a great job with it.
Yeah, it's definitely a great risk-reward scenario. Still super gettable, but also you can mess it up and, I don't know, take an 8 if you're not careful. That was a good shot from Catrina.
Yeah, not trying to bite off too much. She knows she can really open up on the next shot to the bubble, so 320 is really all you need.
Christine with a destroyer here, hanging it out wide, trying to trust it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, gets lucky.
Did it come in?
Yeah.
Gets a little ramp off a rock.
That's a really common mistake to end up in that right side. I think because you really want to miss that tree. And at least if you push too straight, you're across the ditch. If you hit this tree, you have to take it from the short side. Wow. Did I make that happen?
This is played as the second most difficult hole on the course, and I really think it all comes down to this tee shot. This is where most people are going to make the mistake. Missy finding the same spot that Hokom did. It's crazy that little, 6 or 8 feet of not open space just seems to grab your disc towards it like a magnet.
Yeah, it's very well placed.
And you can't miss to the left because the out of bounds pinches
Hugs tight.
It hugs really tight and it gets closer to the fairway as the further it goes. So there's just not a lot of wiggle room on the left-hand side of those trees.
From the short side here, it's going to be really difficult to throw a shot big enough to then go for the green. So you're looking at pretty much an automatic bogey.
Totally. Guaranteed bogey at minimum.
If you go out on the other side, left or right, you can still think about saving your par.
Yeah, it sets up more for the ability to throw a distance shot.
Oof. Christine clipping a few branches, throwing it a little bit too high for the distance.
Oh, no.
Oh, wow, and it fades out really hard.
Yeah, definitely a lot more nose up than she had intended. Looks like it came out on the right angle, just way too high.
I think those branches kind of kicked it over, too, and made it fade early. This
no.
Oh, no, it's fine. Ooh. So that's that large bubble. So
Yeah.
you do want to be kind of pushing it to, lessen the distance on your next shot, but
you want to be pushing it
Deep.
and she pushed it short and left. So that was surprising from her. Maybe just a little
Wow.
early release.
Missy laying up, but really short.
Yeah.
I'm sure she meant to go a little farther.
Yeah, because from where she is, that forces the next shot to be around 400 feet. 375, 400?
I don't think quite that far.
Yeah.
More like 300. But still, if you get to the other side of the bubble, it's more like 120 or
Yeah,
something.
that corner stake right there in front of Christine is right around 375.
Okay, yeah. Math.
It's hard. There's so many shots that happen on this hole.
Yeah. And Christine choosing, I don't know if I said it in the drone, but the fairway wraps from the right to the left really sharply. A lot of people are going to be doing this, throwing over it, but Christine kind of playing where the fairway actually is.
Catrina finding that out of bounds on the left side, just past the green. Definitely early released it a little bit, but it's been high. It was the right amount of power that she needed for the shot.
And she'll have a 35-footer to save her par. This also looks, I was going to say a little bit too high, but actually that digs really nicely.
I don't know if I said it already, but this played is the second most difficult hole with 12% birdies and 63% with a bogey or worse.
I think it could play hard because, especially without the wind, you know that you can get it.
Mm-hmm.
So you keep attacking. Mm-hmm. And then you find the out of bounds.
Yep. That's true. Your mentality is like, no, I can still get it with it.
I can still do it.
Yeah, I can still make it.
I can still save the par. Oh, I can still make this long putt. Oh,
Oh, it's elevated. Spiral.
if you can't tell, I messed up this hole really badly today. So looking forward to my next chance at it. For the par save.
Oh,
Ooh, big hit on the elevated pin.
definitely moving around on that fairway. Not the way she drew it up, but it worked out.
Super clean putt.
Oh, yeah. And this one stays in. Great par save. That feels good on this hole.
Missy for her bogey.
Just a little short, catching the cage.
Christine for a par, right? Oh,
Oh, no. Feeling confident on the green, but catches just a couple chains on the left-hand side. It'll be quite the comebacker. Oh, yeah.
and
Great
good,
bogey save.
yeah, good bogey save.
I mean, that's as best as you can do from where her tee shot landed.
It's just not a combination of words you want to hear as a compliment.
Christine with about the same distance as the comebacker. There we go. Only 5 birdies on the day. I think we will see more.
I think I lost track of what happened to Christine. She ended up taking the double bogey as well as
Couple
Missy.
out of bounds strokes. Hole 8 is one of the less exciting holes on the day. There's out of bounds all the way down the left-hand right side, and it kind of snakes back and forth like an S from the tee pad. You just want to pitch something out into the middle here. Throw your next shot somewhere, hopefully as close to the basket as you can get, but a lot of the FPO players will not necessarily be able to reach inside the circle. Maybe on this feature card, we will see some people set up for the putt because we got a couple distance throwers on here, but it is really hard to get to at 565 and slightly uphill.
Here's a D2 thrown on the ideal line. You're just trying to not mess around with the OB on either side, get right in the middle, and set yourself up for a look at a birdie if you can. But it's quite a second shot to get all the way there, and the basket's very close to the out of bounds, like you said.
And on this camera angle, it makes it look super wide open, but in reality, the way they have snaked the fairway, it makes the out of bounds on the left-hand side come into play. It gets into your head. So it makes it really hard to throw a distance shot and trust that you're not going to find that out of bounds.
Yeah, it's really easy to pull it too far to the right accidentally and then leave yourself exactly like this. And then leave yourself with almost nothing to get up there. Like, she definitely can't birdie.
Did you make that happen too?
I don't know. Maybe I should talk about good stuff. It's also possible to throw all the way up on the very tippy top of this hill and then have no problem getting the birdie. It didn't work.
One cool thing about this hole is it really opens up the fairway, so you get a really awesome mountain view. You can see the low-hanging clouds we got to watch all day, kind of dusting the top of the mountains. It was a really cool, moody, cloudy day.
Christine just throwing an MD3, being smart, just getting in the middle, trying to take her par.
She still gets way down there, though.
Yeah, she threw that
going to
really
Crush
well.
Town.
Yeah, that was farther than I expected.
Me too. It is hard to find this green.
We're going trace on this hole, leaving it a little short, but par is what you expect here generally.
Yeah, getting a little bit too aggressive on this second shot. It's so easy to find out of bounds because I believe it's inside the circle on half of the green, right? It's inside the circle, deep and right.
It's very close, yeah. Missy turning over her thrasher a little bit too much. Luckily, she stays in bounds.
Catrina not quite turning it over as much as you want, but she'll be right around the edge of circle 1.
Yeah, there's not going to be a ton of birdie looks on this hole. That's probably one of the closer ones.
It looks like only 5% of the field found circle 1 for the birdie, which is crazy. That's probably, 2 people, 3 people, maybe?
Something like that.
There's 48 competitors. Math again.
Yeah, don't make me math, please. Missy left hers surprisingly low and will have to make a pretty big putt. Christine gets it to 8 feet. Very nicely done.
Only a quarter of the field finding circle 2 for birdie. So, I mean, a lot of people are just playing this for the par. Moving on to a more attackable hole to get their birdies. This is Missy to save her par.
Yeah, something like maybe 38 feet. There it is. There she is.
Yes.
Used to seeing those from Missy. She's so good at circle 2 putts. Hopefully that gives her a little confidence boost.
This is Catrina for her birdie.
Oh, man, she's all over it. Drawing a ton of metal.
There was only one birdie on the day. Paige Pierce found it. She was on my card, and she was pretty parked.
Yeah, it's a good get. Kind of a boring star par. If it tells you anything, this is the only hole that I skipped in practice. I was like, nah, I got it. It's a par.
Yeah, no big deal. It is literally the 9th most difficult hole, so it is like the middle of
So boring.
Middle of the predictable.
Hole 9 is a birdieable par 3. It's downhill, 380 feet. Again, OB stakes left and right, and it wraps around the basket. There is kind of a bailout zone on the left if you hyzer out. You're trying to throw maybe like a hyzer flip, I think, kind of right at the basket that just goes super straight at it. If you try to hang it too far to the right, you can find the OB really quickly. If you throw really straight with something stable, you can find the left side OB really quickly. It's gettable, but it's dangerous. This looks
Catrina hugging that right side.
good.
Woof.
Oh, man.
I don't know if she meant to put it that tight, but look, she's found the green.
That was her X1, which is relatively stable, so I think that is her play. And it worked out great.
Yeah, it pushed pretty far forward, too, for being that overstable of a disc. Hokom with the major follow through. Hoping it'll sit down, and it does. Checks up right before the out of bounds. She'll be around circle 2. This is another middle of the pack type of hole, the 8th most difficult. 12% of the field with birdies. Not as many as you like to see from the FPO field, but this one is really hard. It's a scary one.
Christine going Star Destroyer, and it... Ooh. Yeah. So that's, again, the mistake to make because a lot of times it ends up rolling back in bounds. But that's, yeah, surprisingly stable choice, I think, for this hole. Unless you were to do it, Catrina didn't hug that right side.
Uh-oh, Missy flips something. It's heading towards out of bounds. Maybe get lucky. Nope. Yeah. That's
early, too.
The pretty typical mistake on this hole. Yeah, it is early. It makes her second shot a lot more difficult. But there is room over there to work a sidearm, just like we see her doing.
Yeah, she throws a zone up there pretty close. 22 feet or something.
There's a huge gully over there. Sometimes you're like, am I ever going to see my disc again?
A little bit of a run from 70 feet there.
Yeah, this one you don't want to mess around with. It can easily roll right or left and get far away from the pin or out of bounds. Also, that rock surprisingly comes into play
like
pretty
a weird
often.
amount. Yeah.
Yes, it's like a magnet.
If you roll behind it or something, you cannot see the basket.
The powers of the glacial erratic.
Oh, yes. Nice hit. She was a little farther than I thought. And doesn't matter. Nails it.
Nice bogey save. Again. Again with that term.
Catrina for her too. Dang. 4 down on the front 9.
Looking strong on the putting green.
Yeah, super clean. She even left several out there, you know?
Yeah. Just continuing the solid play from the weeks prior. Look at all that green on Catrina's front 9. Christine looking solid as well. Just a little hiccup there on hole 7. The one that you won't really lose many strokes to the field if you mess up on.
Yeah, Missy finding trouble on the same hole and just not quite doing it this round. But
there's room on the back 9, though, to get some more birdies. There's a lot of them out here. And the wind stays calm the rest of the day.
Checking in with the leaderboard here. Paige Pierce doing well, 2 under. Christine hanging in there. Heather Young was on my card, shooting a 1 down. Several evens and 1 over par. So
we got 2 hot geese on the leaderboard.
honk honk.
Thank you guys for hanging out with us for the front 9. Come check out the back 9. There's a lot of cool stuff that happens on this beautiful Fox Run course. I'm Madison Walker.
I'm Erika Stinchcomb. We're 2 hot geese. Honk.